welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I'm joined with Sherman. Sherman, how you doing today?
Today, not bad. It's been a crazy week. So, how are you, Dan?
It has been a crazy week. We talked about, everyone obviously knows what today's episode is about. You know, I could name this episode anything, and everyone knows what we're going to talk about. It's all anyone is talking about in Commander, right? So Um,
Yeah,
we
it's
were
been
gonna
crazy.
jump on and do something a little earlier and be like, well, let's. But we like to kind of just take a minute. We've seen people have their big freakouts before and everything like that. So we decided let's take a day. Um, yeah. So I'm good minus that. We'll get into it after. But no, I'm good generally speaking for the week. Slothy's just got some life stuff to deal with today, so he can't make it sadly for this one. But um,
Yeah, he really, really, really wanted to talk about this too.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I guess we'll rip the Band-Aid off. They banned a bunch of stuff. The
yeah.
Band-Aid.
They banned Golos. They banned Breacher.
Yeah,
No, no.
it's the I thought everyone keeps like referring to this event as Black Monday, and that's obviously what I'm going to call the episode. And I was like, it'd be really funny if I named it Black Monday, and then we just talked like black staples, like the best black cards in the format, and we just
Oh,
didn't. Yeah, but
that'd be hilarious.
I guess I guess let's start from like the very beginning of their announcement, and I will I'll say my take after, but let's talk about their initial announcement. So they rolled it out earlier than normal. It was supposed to be a September 30th update instead of the 23rd, so a week earlier.
Yeah,
They said Dockside is banned, Jeweled Lotus is banned, Mana Crypt is banned, and Nadu is banned. Others they rant on about this Silver Border Project thing. It's their tool to be like, oh well, these are the cards that should be legal and blah 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 blah. But I just want to read out quickly the reasoning. The let me uh yeah let me put this over here for a second. So there's my button. So the commander the philosophy of Commander prioritizes creativity, and one of the ways we have historically reflected that in the rules and ban list is to encourage a slower pace of games than traditional formats. This gives decks time and space to develop and do different things. We have a goal to make it easier for players who enjoy slower, more social games to have an environment for them to explore. Before we even go into that, everyone should play whatever games they want to play. I vehemently disagree with all of this. I can't even contain it. Um, they you can't have a format that is like, hey guys, rule zero should be all end all, and then be like, but we don't like how you play, and then
yeah,
like I really don't like the counter argument of like, oh well, you can just rule zero them back in. Okay, well then by that rule, you didn't have to rule zero them out. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So says Commanders always had the potential for someone to get out fast and be the arch villain in the game, but that advantage has been balanced by having multiple players gunning for them at once when it happens. That's me every game. I play against the table all the time.
so
It
true.
happens. You learn to deal with it, right? In the past few years, notably since Strixhaven, we've seen a pattern of stronger mid game cards that allow players who skip past the early game to snowball their advantage straight to the win. Occasional games like that are fine, but it shouldn't be common, and we're taking steps to bring that frequency down a bit by banning three of the most explosive plays in the format. So, first off, they go into their reasoning on Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, Dockside. I want to say we play Magic at tons of conventions. We play Magic at multiple different game stores. I play online all the time. I haven't seen these cards be problems.
That,
Personally, have you?
so the thing is, okay,
Yeah.
from our experience of like excluding Nadu, we're just talking about the three. Dockside, okay, I can kind of be like, all right, this can be a problem, but it should be like, like if you guys ban it, I honestly don't care. I have a Dockside. I haven't used it in ages just because it's so strong. I don't care. We see it in a lot of infinite combos. That's basically all we really see it in, to be honest. But we're so casual. We never see a mana crypt or a Geode Lotus unless we're sitting down with the person and the person's like, I'm playing competitive.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to
Even
play some
then.
spicy decks or some higher powered things and stuff. But again, there's a really great example of it. Is I did see Dockside at like speaking Dockside alone. I did see Dockside at a convention, and you can see on my face that I get salty when somebody loops it and wins the game. And I just moved on and played the rest of the day. I'll
Yeah.
I'll, I'll link the video part of it. You can see my face be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right? It's happened, but again, people like to play their own ways and stuff. They have their own decks, like the. So
It is what it is.
that's what I wanted to say. Is number one, I'm not seeing these cards really be a problem because generally speaking, I think it's pretty understood that you don't ram Jeweled Lotus into like a precon deck. You know,
Yeah.
like I can't be like turn one Forest Lotus Petal. For me, it'd be Mrs. Bumbleflower. Get Mrs. Bumbleflower out turn one. Let's go. It's it's not great. And again, I have a lot of decks that really play fast. A lot of really strong
Yeah.
decks. And you
Yeah.
know what happens whenever I do that? My commander gets blown off the board, and then I have a 7 mana cost commander waiting to get out with 2 mana on the board.
And 3 people picking on you.
Yeah, it's yeah, you can get your commander out, but you're now the target of every piece of removal. The only commander I played Jeweled Lotus only in one deck, and I play it in Osgear because I just think it's fun to Osgear and then get a second Jeweled Lotus and a copy of it back out with Osgear. That's the only one. I'm not personally really affected by the ban. I have a lot of mana crypts, but
You
I
lost a lot of money.
in mana crypts I did, but I gained a ton in mana volts.
Yeah.
Mana volts went up to like $160.
Yeah.
Absolute stonks. Like I have a masterpiece mana crypt and stuff, and that kind of hurt. But I wanted to I wanted to say this is so they talk about snowballing and stuff, right? And if you're a part of the channel and stuff, you've seen that we have really I would say being very aggressive advocates of chilling out. We've been pretty aggressive. There's lots of gameplay videos of me being like, "Hey, I'm going to like use like a Savannah tropical island to cast a fire diamond," and everyone's like, what are you doing? What's
Yeah.
right?" I play a lot of slower mana. I still have like duels and decks and stuff, but we've been a big fan of chilling out, right? So, like I said, even when we're seeing and stuff, right? We're not really seeing these big explosive things. You can't ban mana ramp out of the format, right? Like that's the problem is they tried with this, but it's inconsistent, and as we'll see with the rest. So I wanted to talk about their reasoning, so it's just everyone understands. So Mana Crypt is coming down for no mana on turn one. It's quite possible to have the explosive start. You know what? Before I even do this, by the way, who's threatening people over this? That's crazy. I did want to say that you shouldn't be threatening
we should
people.
definitely address that.
Yeah,
We should. Yeah.
I just thought about that. Number one, don't threaten it. I don't think anyone that we interact with or that follows, like we're a pretty chilled out group. I don't think anyone is like, I hate all of you. I'm coming to your house. That's not the people here. We're all pretty chill, relaxed. We're all pretty chill and relaxed over here. But there is two sides to it. Number one, you don't threaten people over a card game. That's silly. It's Magic's for fun for everyone, right? But the other side is like they're kind of like trying to use that as an excuse to be like, oh, like don't criticize us because people are threatening us. Don't threaten them, but they do deserve criticism for this. The criticisms very valid. Threats not valid. You don't threaten people over card game. We're not children. That's fair. That's fair. You don't do that. However, you do call it stupid if it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but the way you do it is the big difference here. Okay, you hear us. We're criticizing them. We're gonna go into it. Like you can tell just from the what we're saying, our tone and everything. We don't agree with this banning.
Well,
Right?
I
We're
think
gonna criticize them, but we're not threatening them.
I think I have some interesting reasons why. At least I'm sure everyone who's had any opinion thinks they have interesting reasons of why.
Yeah.
But I think I've got I think I have a unique piece of opinion. So, anyways, don't threaten people. That's crazy. Only threaten people who play Cyclonic Rift in game. Bullying Cyc Rift players, absolutely valid.
No, but I have it in my Hinata deck. Please, 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 no.
No, and not
I
another
have it here.
and not another word about it, Sherman. So we have Mana Crypt coming down for no mana on turn one. It's quite possible to have the explosive start of Mana Crypt into a Signet or Talisman, land, and another Signet, leaving that player untapping 5 mana on turn two. All right, Sol Ring can do that too. That's fair. I just want to say that quickly. I can
Yeah.
still, at this point, I'm just saying, I can still land, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Mana Volt, and then go into my turn and then have 1 from land, 2 from Soul Ring, 4 or 3 from Mana Volt, so 5, and then Signet 6. That's 6. I have a more explosive play. What? It's inconsistent, but um, leaving a player untapping 5 mana turn 2. In games going on 12 turns, the accumulated threat of damage from a mana crypt provides reasonable counterbalance for its explosive effect, but when you're snowballing to a turn 6 or 8 win, it's a meaningless drawback. First off, terrible logic. As long as like no one touches you for 12 turns, it might kill you. No, I've died to mana crypt so many times. I played with Emery and like some of the guys from Rogue's Passage. Emery died to mana crypt this week. It's Mana Crypt is often a ticking time bomb where you flip for the crypt and you die to it all the time. And like I said, generally the more ahead you are, the more aggressive everyone is to you in the game. So it's not like I play a Mana Crypt and turn one I'm just so ahead and everyone's like, well, let's leave him alone for 12 turns and see where this goes. No, you just normally die because everyone wants to kill you. You play something like I was playing in that game that the Mana Crypt came out. I played Voja and I was crazy rampant elves. I was just like it was like I got a what was it, Lotus Petal turn one in a forest, so I like played like Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves. I was off to the races. Turn two we got I had an Avacyn's Pilgrim and Avacyn's Pilgrim, Llanowar Elves, and Forest turn one. Turn two was a mountain, and we played. I can't even remember something else. It was like cultivated into it. Like I was really ahead, and then I got board wiped, and then I did nothing for 5 turns except stew at Emery for board
Sucker.
wiping me and just stared at her. And then it took me 13 turns to get revenge, and I was like, I'm swinging at you because you did this. And she's like, well, you're holding a grudge from that. I was like, yeah, obviously I'm holding a grudge from there. So yes, you could still ramp hard. Jeweled Lotus, another card to give you 5 mana on turn 2. Jeweled Lotus does it without even needing a good hand. Though you're restricted in what you can do with the mana, and 5 mana commanders can pack a significant punch nowadays, often drawing on cards to make up for one-shot mana and defensive abilities like Ward. That makes sense in like the case of like a Voja. Like I said, but Voja's 3 colors, right? Generally speaking, a commander's balanced into its color pie, right? Like
Yeah.
I was gonna put I made a bunch of Kona decks, and I was gonna put a Jeweled Lotus into Kona, but I made it as a group hug deck so that I can get Kona out turn one and start group hugging. Like at the end of the day, I can't see anyone being upset that I'm group hugging out a card that fast, right? But I guess it's all really on the like the intention of what you play. Like the Jeweled Lotus is undoubtedly a good card and stuff, right? I said it when we got it.
They should
Um,
have never made that card in the first place. Let's just say that.
eh, it's again. So let me quickly. So and then it's Dockside. Dockside isn't normally quite explosive in the early game as the other two, but it can still be mana positive on turn two and start generating substantial treasures. It's been on the border for years. We've shied away from acting because the card is scaled well with the power level of the table, but it's a frequent contributor to more egregious snowballing starts. I don't see Dockside as a start problem. I see it as a combo late
Finisher.
game. Yeah, late game thing. People
Yeah.
bounce it in and out and everything like that. It's like a late game thing, but there's so many good things already that you can bounce in and out and stuff, right? There's lots of things that are mana positive. There's lots of like even Cloud of Fairies just like bouncing in and out for infinite ETB triggers because it
You have
untaps 2
the
lands
Peregrine
and
Drake.
yeah. Oh, exactly, right? Palancron, like those things exist. They're in the format. It is what it is, right? So
Yeah.
I guess like Dockside is like kind of a staple card you've been seeing more and more, but again, meh, it's all right.
Yeah.
This is the problem. So they go on first off, and I think this is where the controversy kind of begins. So it says we should talk about the elephant in the room. We're not banning Soul Ring and have no desire to. That's not. It says yes, based on the criteria we've talked about, it should be banned or it would be banned. Soul Ring is the iconic card of the format, and it's sufficiently tied to the identity of the format that it defies the laws of physics in a way no other card does. Banning Soul Ring would be fundamentally changing the identity of the format. So like how can the format be anti-fast mana but also be the soul of the format? It to me that's an inconsistent piece of logic. I don't think that. I also like, by the way, that literally no one anywhere has advocated for Nadu in this. By the way, they didn't even have to explain it. It's just like Nadu sucked. Nadu shouldn't have gotten out of testing. That one was a mistake. I think everyone can agree.
We
All right.
agree.
It's Nadu did like make very unfun play patterns, but again, I think most people rule zeroed that out of play. I think Nadu was more of a competitive problem because competitive players like don't really rule zero those things out minus proxies or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so they go on with that. They make this big announcement, and it set the internet on fire. Caused a much worse controversy than their last set of bannings, which was Golos, and then they banned.
Hullbreacher.
Was Golos and Hullbreacher at the same time?
Maybe.
And then and then they unbanned Worldfire, which is again I still think just a really stupid thing. But
Yeah.
so they went on. They're fighting for their lives and everything. I just want to say before it, I openly don't like the rules committee. I say it all the time. We've done, I think, in the last 5 episodes or like 5 months, I think 5 or 6 episodes of me talking about how I don't like or respect or listen to the rules committee. We did Meridoc and Rosie, which is an illegal pairing, not a rule. We did a whole episode on illegal partners. We did Ayula and Coda. I illegally pair things all the time. If I had I play Lutri in this deck jar, we'd be rich, right? Like it's just I put it in everything. I don't listen to the rules committee already, right? I don't care if people want to play non-legendary. I have all of the Nephilim as commanders. It's I don't listen to it, right? So the ban to me doesn't matter because I can talk to people. I can just say like, hey, I made this cool deck. Do you want to see it? And it's yes or no. That's the Oh, go ahead.
We literally have the rule zero talk beforehand for everything.
Yeah.
And we don't have a problem with it.
Well, a big thing is they've hid behind Rule Zero for a really, really long time, saying like the format's in a good state, the blah blah blah, and I've openly said like that's not a good way to deal with it. There's lots of cards, but again, I think that it's easier to let people play what they want to play, and just encourage actual talks, right? Like you do need to be honest about like the kind of deck you're playing and everything like that. And you do sometimes, yeah. If you're losing games lots and everything, and you're having a lot of feel bad stuff, then you have to kind of sometimes reevaluate just building in a vacuum where you never adapt to your own meta is a little foolish, right? Like we see different decks do different things all the time because we change for the play groups, right? The Rule Zero shouldn't just be like a one-time like, hey guys, what are we playing? And everyone says 7s and we all laugh because nothing's a 7. And but like it should be the start of the game, should be the end of the game. How did everyone feel about that? Right? Like, did you like that game we played? Did you get what you wanted out of it? Yes or no? Right? That was a little more powerful, right? A lot of people, it's easy to be stubborn and just be frustrated in the game and not like voice your concerns, but you should be saying like, that was a little higher than I thought it was. Maybe we tone it down, or do you guys want to play something similar? And I have a stronger deck, something I think is stronger that might work with the table, right?
Yeah.
We again, the other thing too is like we are notorious for playing pretty silly decks. Like you and me specifically, we play a lot of really stupid things, right? So
What a jank.
Yeah, the power of like cards often doesn't like really matter and stuff because I don't care if you drop a Jeweled Lotus in like a game that I'm playing. That's not stopping me from dropping a Howling Mine and trying to copy it 13 times. I don't care. Have your commander, right? Like it's just I don't know. The game should be fun, and that's a big problem with this and all the crying out for like ban this, ban that from their data that they have never said anything about, and they never. It's a lot. It's trust me, it's there. It's a lot of data, but the people complaining were just having those. Obviously, those conversations weren't going on and stuff, and there's like a bit of a understanding of okay, well. These cards need to be banned because what if I go to a game store and I don't know who I'm playing with and stuff? But again, talk to people. That's how you meet people. That's how you make friends. So me and Sherman friends. We talk to the game store. We became
Yeah.
buddies.
Like everyone keeps on saying like, "Oh, Eric, everything's a 7, everything is 7." Like we literally change our conversations not from like what's your power level. We literally ask each other like, "Okay, so how on average, how often does your deck go off? Does it go off on turn 6, turn 8? Does it take a while?" Like this helps you gauge how strong your deck is, in all honesty. Okay, because if your deck can go off on average turn 5, turn 6, you have a strong deck,
Yep.
hands down. If it takes you a while, like it, if people leave you alone and all that stuff, and you can survive a board wipe, and it takes like turn 10 to turn 12 for you to like really start like getting your engine going,
Mm-hmm.
then it's gonna be like a mid power level, like almost close to a precon. That's how we literally talk to each other now. We don't ask what is your power level because no one actually knows what the power level is. And at the same time, in your play group, a 7 might be a 9 for us.
I hate
Well,
I hate the infantilized play like rule zero where it's like, this is my deck list. I'm trying to win with this. I need like exactly just tell people kind of what your goal is and stuff. I'm playing a draw deck. How strong is your
yeah,
draw deck? It's all right. It's a
yeah,
7,
I
right? Like it's
yeah, it's just one of those things, like I play in a mill deck, okay? Like I'm trying to mill you guys out. It might take 16 turns, but that's my goal. Okay, like will we, do I expect you to be like a strong contender in this game? Not really. I hate mill though, so I'm still gonna target you.
yeah. I would say like so before we go on to their like because they put out a frequently asked question which made everything worse. I think it was pretty bad. But the as far as like the power creep of things has gone, I I like and dislike power creep in Magic. Power creep is it's kind of annoying when every month there's like new spoiler alert for new cards and everything, right? That's kind of not fun, but at the end of the day, like if people are excited about a card, I love seeing like new deck ideas. I love seeing what people have come up with and like all of the fancy things they do and everything. And the other thing is I'm not the right player to ask about like a ban and stuff, right? Because like everyone's just like, oh well, blah blah blah. We're happy that these $100 cards are out of the format. I'm playing $5,000 cards. I'm dropping tabernacles, right? So like it's a very very different. Like I've played for so long, and I'm such like an enfranchised player with a lot of reserve list cards that I know full well how bad a discrepancy can feel. Because again, I have more access to those cards than probably most game store owners, to be honest. Right? Like I've got a lot of cards. You don't have 900 decks that are all bad decks. So some of them have to be good, I would say, right? So seeing seeing a little bit of power creep that was letting people catch up to some of what I was able to play was kind of interesting, right? Because I've played a lot of games where just dropping dual lands alone has made me a target because everyone's like, well, he's not putting dual lands in if his deck sucks like this is, but I'm just putting them in because it's there. Like again, like I said, I think it's really funny that sometimes I'm tapping like a tropical island to play a fire diamond. It's really funny,
Yeah. But
right?
that's the thing though. You have players like me where we take every single opportunity to point out to the other players like, hey, they have this or they played this or this is a high power card. We need to go after them.
Yeah. Well,
We're redirecting all the hatred from or towards the one person so we survive a bit longer,
a
right?
great example is that when we play with Sherman, I get beat all the time by budget decks, by very, very cheaply made decks that have like a purpose in mind. And it's because of that. Like politics is like integral to the format. If we were just playing in a void and it was like arena and you could only say like thanks, your go, like those kind of things, right?
Oh yeah, I'm screwed.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like those if we're playing cards to card, I'm winning a lot more. But oftentimes I just can't like I love the politics of the game. I love it, but I just can't politics my way out of like being 6 mana ahead of everyone and then, you know, right? Like
Yeah.
politics wins the game for Sherman all the time, and Sherman's a great pilot, even with like I said, I've seen Sherman. How much was your what was
My
the
Galadriel
yeah
my
your Scry
Galadriel was
Galadriel that one?
like is I've modified it a little bit, but it's still like I think the last time I checked was like $86.
That deck's killer. That deck's just it's so good and stuff, right? Like if you're not able to like play at like some lower power stuff, then you have to adapt a little bit to how you're talking because we should be playing even if it's with a group of randoms, right? It's people that are out looking to have fun. They
Yeah.
came to the game store not because they want to be mean and hurt your feelings and be like, look at how crazy. Like it's the sweat lord meme of like my look at my $10,000 non-competitive, it's borderline CEDH, and I have to win. That I don't really see that as much. And if you are, maybe talk to that guy. Maybe there's something going on in his life, and just be like, hey, like let's like have a good time because that's what Commander is to me. It's joke around with my buddies. It's have
Yeah.
a laugh, right? It's not about flexing how great I'm at the game. I'm arguably pretty bad at the game. I put a lot of not good cards in decks and not answers because I have to be answered. I don't bring answers.
That's
You
so true.
you guys answer me, right? I play silly, I play the way I want, and I lose games all the time. I think the other night when we played 6 or 7 games and I won one and it was with Rigo. Yes. It was
Like
pretty good.
overall, like from my personal perspective and everything, okay, when it comes down to it, like I understand it might be harder for some people, but like I pick and choose which places I play
Mhm.
when and the groups I play. If like, and I've mentioned this before in other recordings and other episodes where like I was invited to an LGS and everyone there like they play with like proxies, which is normally is not a big deal, but we're playing almost like like a tournament in a way. Like there were prizes and whatnot,
Mhm.
but it's like you shouldn't be able to do that with proxies. Like, and I don't mean like actual like someone made like a proxy card like they bought it from like someone like this. No, they just took a strip of paper and just wrote down what it was and
Ugh.
just sleeved it in that way,
Well,
right?
Magic should be a visual game, right?
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, fine. And everyone there, like if you took the card value of what they threw in for all the decks, we're talking about like in the 800 pluses to a
Mhm.
thousand, maybe 1200. And I'm like here, I'm just like, I thought like I was invited here as a casual player.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm rolling in with like a $200 deck at most. It's
I
like
say this.
this is not fun. So I never played with these guys ever again. I just go back to my regular LGS
Yeah.
because it's more friendly in that sense where like you can have someone that has like an $800 deck, but they'll tell you like, yo, this is like higher power compared to someone else like, okay, and the average price for most people that play there, is like $200 to $300 and they try to have fun. They'll sandbag just so like because they want to see people go off.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I like I think that if people are like just doing that, like Magic, like I was saying, should be a visual game. I really don't like the like right on proxies. Like at least make like a nice one. I like seeing a great spot to plug it. Go to a best proxy shop. It's there. But like I said, I like seeing people put effort into their deck. Right, commanders. It's very self-expressive, right?
Yeah.
This is what again I like to laugh and joke with my friends, which is why a lot of my decks have like silly things. A lot of them have like group hug things because I want the table to have fun, right? I'm looking forward to seeing buddies play games. I love seeing like the creative ways that people do things. I love setting up like intricate like board states and then having somebody like find a way around it. We had a really cool interaction with when we were playing on last weekend where Brando from Rogue's Passage had this card that kept he could it was with the new energy commander, again a commander that I had totally overlooked as something, and he was able to keep making a copy of Champions of Minas Tirith. When it enters, you become the monarch. So every turn he'd be able to become the monarch, and he'd have multiple copies of it because he was able to do this. And his whole deck's play style was that he was able to become the monarch, and then you couldn't attack him because he was the monarch, and you had to pay like 13, right? So this was like a very well established and well set up board wipe, and it was just me and Emery in the game at this point, our board lock and everything, right? And it was like 30 mana to attack him at this point that he had it, but I had like a terrible card. Give me just 2 seconds. I will find the card for you. I found a really interesting way around this card, and it's so funny how I eventually got around it. I can't wait to share this with you. Just give me 2 seconds here.
The
This is
line of singularity.
no, I wish it was. No, so I was playing Rigo, which is one of my current favorite decks.
Nice.
I think it's I think it's maybe like a $60 deck. It's a pretty objectively horrible deck, but I win a ton of games with it because it's so funny. So he has this very intricate board lock set up, and we can't attack him. But I have like I've got like lethal damage on board with these like 1/1 creatures, and I have the Tetsuku whatever card where you can't block my 1/1s. So if I can swing at him, he's dead. And in hand, I have been for turns holding Overrun. What is it? Triumph of the Hordes, Overwhelming Stampede. Like I got some heat in my hand, and I got a lot of mana on the game. But he has his board lock. He has really interesting board wipe. And the way that I ended up killing him was by using this card. It's a Worms Crossing Patrol. It's a one white mana 1/1 creature with Myriad. So I would swing the 1/1 at Emery, and then the Myriad
Oh.
creature would come in attacking him. He can't block my 1/1s, and I would take Monarch from him. And then he'd have to get back to another spot where he could make another copy of it to get Monarch again. And I was able to whittle it down. And again, I just love seeing these like to me that's just such a funny memory of like being able to, because this was a good deck. It was built phenomenally well. It was such a cool deck. And again, like I was making the joke, we have like a few groups and everything. I was playing in that same thing. I know this is a lot of I'm playing things, but these are funny stories, at least to me. So I was playing my Selvala Elves and Angels deck, and that deck goes hard. That's like one of my strongest, not competitive decks. And everyone said we want to play spicy, and I brought some heat. And I had just like smashed the table with like I think it was like a 22 into X finale of glory. Like it was, things were getting real and everything like that. And Brando hit me with the card Sleep. And that card that made me, I think, one of the anger. It's no jeweled lotuses getting me none of it, but Brando hit me with a Sleep. Oh, but I'm sitting there googling. I'm like, is this card even legal? Is it regulation? I got I nearly died. He took it. He almost killed me with Sleep, a card from, I can't even see what it is. It's from like 2013 Magic. Again, it's a not played card, and I almost got ruined. I went from like the most dominant board state nearly all the way down. This was rough. Yeah. So Sleep is a 4 mana sorcery, 2 double blue. Tap all creatures target player controls. Those creatures don't untap during their next untap step.
It's a great card. So much fun.
Oh, it's like I said, I was like, is it regulation? Who's
Yeah.
governing
It's a
this
great
card?
blue card.
Like I said, I love seeing cards like that because again, I'm taking into account that people might be cracking me with like a Psych Rift. They might be doing X, but I didn't see that one coming.
But yeah, like so this is like our stance on it. Like you can tell that like whether like you guys play these cards or not, we don't care.
Yeah.
We like deep down inside we're just like you know. But at the same time, like we literally don't care.
Well, yeah, like I want to talk a little bit more about their reasoning, but a spoiler alert. It's we're about halfway through-ish our episode. Spoiler alert. I don't listen to the rules committee anyways. You can play whatever you want with me. You can come up to a convention and I'm playing there, and you want to play a deck that has Jewel Lord? All right,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Play against Silver.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
play.
played against Silver Border before too. We just don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. Partner literally whatever commanders you want. I just like to play Magic. I don't care how we're playing Magic. I got a deck for everything. There's
Yeah.
a time and a place for everything, right? So like I haven't listened to the rules committee since the Golos ban. I never took Golos apart. I still play Golos regularly. Right? I play, like I said before, I play all of the Nephilim. I play a ton of stuff. The rules committee is just kind of it's not something I respect. I never have. The Golos ban I think was one-sided. It wiped out like the only good Gates commander really in the like the it's everyone was playing good stuff. So good stuff piles are always gonna exist,
Yeah.
right?
Who cares?
Yeah, it's just like most people were playing Golos as a Gates commander. It was usually like a pretty silly and jank deck. It's actually it was one of my decks that I taught people to play the format in, and I still use it as a teaching deck. It's a very, very budget deck that
Yeah.
teaches people, again, about land ramp, about color selection and everything like that, and about alternate win cons, which is Maze's End. It's I think it's one of my best decks to teach people with. I teach them with that and with Marwyn, like Mono
Yeah.
Green Elves. Those to me are just good teaching decks, but I don't like the idea. So the I don't like the argument like, oh, this costs people money, because people shouldn't be panic selling their stuff off. They should be just talking to their play groups and doing it. The amount of people I've seen rushing to get rid of their jeweled lotuses and crypts, like it's like, take a breather, guys. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Like
not good.
we'll touch on the financial aspect later in the episode here, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, like it's just like the expensive things sometimes leave the format and everything like that. I don't think that expensive should be the be all end all, but I think like self control and stuff. I've got a few decks that are queued up for episodes in the next few weeks, and I've been playing like, this is my deck, and here's like a budget version of it so that everyone can build one and go there from there. Every list I've posted, every single one is not a very good list. Everyone can make it better. Everyone can like tailor it to their thing. There's upgrades like I don't have a single deck, even my CDH ones, that I'm like, this is the be all end all list, and I'm the greatest authority in the world on this list. It's that, like, it's just I post decks all the time, and there's tons of room to upgrade. There's tons of things like you make any one of my decks better, you make any one worse. But again, people I just think have been for a little too long not practicing restraint. Right? We talked about the staples people put in decks, and again, I think that's the wider problem, right? Because if people don't learn to chill out, they don't learn to bring the nuclear arms race kind of down,
Down.
then there's nothing else they can do.
Yeah. Like and like the rules committee says like, okay, like we're seeing these cards in more and more in the casual play, and it's just like, okay, like, well, Dockside I can kind of see. That's why I kind of, you know, kind of agree, kind of disagree with their reasoning for Dockside. Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt, like the fact that you're playing them in casual formats is really ridiculous. But at the same time, that's part of the problem where it's Wizards who they're pushing people to buy these chase cards when they release them in sets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's face it, okay, if you get one somehow because you're just like, okay, you know what, I'm feeling lucky, let's spend like $30 buying a booster pack, let's see what happens, let's just roll the dice,
Mm-hmm.
let's gamble. And you crack open like a mana crypt from like, Caverns of Ixalan, and you're freaking out. You're gonna throw it in a deck, okay? And it's probably gonna be a casual deck because you normally don't play high power stuff. And I can see that this is creeping in because of that.
Because it's
But at the
there,
same
yeah.
time, most of the time, it's just because someone just cracked the pack and they're just like, oh my god, I have it, and they're throwing it. It's a deck like well constructed and compared to like a competitive deck. No, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Okay, one card is not gonna make a difference. All right, but it's fun for the casual person. Like if I had like a Jeweled Lotus, okay, or and I threw it into like my Galadriel deck just cause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just say I did that. Okay, is that one card gonna matter? No, it doesn't. But it's gonna make me feel great when I pull it from time to time, and I pull it for turn one. Okay, like the fact that like people are saying that it skews, or like you have like people coming in and just curb stomping noobs and whatnot. That's not like the problem. The problem is the person themselves of
Yeah,
how
pub
they
stomping's not going
play.
away.
Yeah. So it's just the way it is. Okay, we play against, like, once again, we play against a lot of different people. We play against people that are very new. We have a video of like we're playing against someone that's like like 10 or 12 or
Yeah,
something
the
like
little
that.
kid who came and rolled us.
Yeah, and we're just like, and we're at the beginning of the video, we're like, we promise we're not gonna pick on him, and then like within like turn 4 or turn 5, we're like, okay, we might have to take her word back. We might have to pick on the
We,
kid.
we might have to beat this kid up a little bit in the game. Yeah,
Yeah, but like once
with his
again,
Zerg deck.
it comes down to the person, the individual. Okay, if you're like, if I threw in all three of these cards into a deck, all right, would anyone be offended by it? Probably not, because I will hold back. I don't just go for like, all out every single time. You know, I'll like I'll take my time. I'm not there to throw down. I'm there to have fun, okay? And that's the difference, okay, between the people that are the casuals that do have these cards from time to time because they literally just opened the pack, or they spent real money, they saved up, they bought it, okay, and they threw it into the one favorite deck that they have, and now they can't use it again. It's just stupid, right? So
Hmm.
like you can tell that we're totally against all of this, but at the same time, like, yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think that it was stupid.
Well, the bans aren't going to solve the pub stomping problem in
No.
general, and the other thing is that it's not going to make it better and stuff, right? It's the same reason with proxying. You can proxy whatever expensive card you want, but if you're not being fun to play against, that kind of doesn't matter, right? Like no one cares that again, no one cares that I've like dropped a real tabernacle on the table. They're like, this is annoying,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just that's just how people are and feel about things, right? Like you should always self-regulate. You should never. I don't know. Do people normally go out trying to win EDH? Am I just weird?
Well, that's the thing. It comes down. It depends on the person,
Hmm.
right? So, because like serious talk here. Like I talked to a person before, and like they said that they're like, for them a budget deck is like $500. I'm like, are you kidding me? $500? Like, I literally have a deck here that's like, like
Oh,
my most expensive deck is $500, and that's more on like high power, and
mhm.
I'll admit that, okay. But that fact that they're saying that's their low end budget deck
Yeah.
is just outrageous. So like, let's be honest here, okay. If you think that is a low powered deck, there's something wrong with your thinking.
Yeah, that's true. There's no way
Okay.
to make a budget deck at that and stuff, right? Like to me, budget is 100 or less. Optimal budget is 60 to 80 bucks.
Yeah.
That to me, I'm like, I've done a great job making a cool budget deck. $100 affordable. It's not putting people out to try build and stuff, right? I would say 100 and under is like pretty budget, but I don't think any of my lists that I've put up lately have been like in the $500 or $600 range. I've been playing silly stuff. You could make them all expensive, but
Yeah. But that's why I'm saying, like, it comes down to the individual, okay? If you can't survive with the mana crypt and a jeweled lotus and a dark side in your deck, and like, I'm excluding competitive here.
mhm.
Okay? I'm literally excluding competitive. I'm just saying casual. If you cannot survive with any of these three cards, in my opinion, you suck at building decks.
Yeah, you gotta
Hands
change it.
down. You suck.
Well,
Okay.
the C, I always say the C in CDH stands for consistency. Can you do the
Yeah.
same thing consistently over and over and over? And those pieces are all nice, consistent pieces because they can give you a faster opener and everything, right? They make them consistent. But just like you said and stuff, if I threw, let's look at Rigo. If I threw a Jeweled Lotus into Rigo, and then I got
Yeah.
turn one Rigo and an Ornithopter out, everyone's just gonna look at me like I have brain damage. Everyone's gonna be like, "What do you? Why?" And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. So, anyways, I swing with Ornithopter. Everyone's gonna be like, What's the point of this, right? That's more. That card's more than the budget of the deck. It's no one's gonna be like, oh, he's cheating. He's getting things out there. I'm like, played it in that? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's people are gonna be concerned for my mental well being. They're not gonna be like, oh, power creep is out of control.
Yeah. So like, it's just outrageous to me with that. Like, we like, I can understand why the competitive format is just like, okay, guys, like, this is crazy, but like, anyone that's casual, that's freaking out over just those cards, not being able to play those cards, I'm sorry, it sucks. But You know what group looks at this that's not Magic that and is laughing their heads off?
It's Wizards, yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's funny. Yu-Gi-Oh gets banned hard.
yeah, and they get no explanation. Okay, like there are stories of people that are flying down to a tournament and a ban list gets thrown up and they lost like 12 cards in their deck and
Yeah, they
they
don't even
have
have
to
a playable deck.
scramble to figure out what to do. Okay, they just get banned without any explanation. We are privileged when it comes to like Magic, like Wizards and like the rules committee, literally trying to give us an explanation. Okay, Yu-Gi-Oh players are just like whatever, we don't care. Like it's part of the game. We're used to it.
There's there's better cards that they could have banned, especially like if they want to do like for the health of the format things. There's cards that are just annoying. A
Yeah,
very to me a good example of something that should be banned based on every piece of feedback I've ever observed in any part, and it's not Cyclonic Rift. I know what everyone's thinking. I hate that card.
Mystic Study.
No, well, Ristic Study, yeah, everyone like that, but it's what's it called, Toxrill. I have never,
Yes,
in all of my many wise years, seen a Toxrill hit the table that has not caused everyone to be like, really? It's the there's nothing. I have a deck that's only mana rocks for Toxrill. I have a group hug version of Toxrill. And there's nothing. Toxrill's not fun.
but once again, it comes down to if so. This is my take on Toxro. Okay, I'm sorry. Like I know we're going on tangents here and there. Okay, just bear with us. All right, but this is my stance on Toxro. If I see Toxro, okay, and at the same time, this is literally part of how I threat assess. When we first start off, before anyone plays their first card or draws the first card for the turn, okay, I look at everyone's commander. So, if Daniel's playing Toxro, and I look at my deck and like, okay, I'm playing a creature token deck. I am gonna target Daniel every single opportunity I get when there's no other threat.
Mm-hmm.
Why? His deck is literally designed
The full
against
counter, yeah.
my strategy. Okay. If you see a Toxro and you're like, oh, I don't think Toxro is a big deal, and I'm gonna attack someone else, and then Toxro comes out, and then you literally can't do anything. That is on you.
Mm-hmm.
We even have gameplay of that happening. Okay, because like we played a game online with
Brady and Brian.
Brady and Brian. Brian was already like, oh, I don't want to deal with Toxro, and like Brady attacks me, and he's like, I'm not afraid of Toxro. Next thing you know, Toxro comes out and it shuts him down.
Big
That's
mistakes,
on
buddy.
him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also lost that game because
Yeah.
I play stupid.
You dirtled.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I have fun.
Yeah, we had fun still.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Okay. Like, should we ban Toxro? No. It means you need to make better choices.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm playing a deck where it's just Spellslinger, okay, and I don't really need creatures. I just need a creature out on one turn and then just go off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just needs to like stay there for my turn. Okay. Then Toxtrol's not a big deal, and I'll let Toxtrol stay out because it's board wiping everyone else for me. But if I'm a creature heavy deck and Toxtrol is a potentially coming out, I'm gonna hit it as often as I can. I'm gonna keep up removal as often as I can, so it never stays on the board. That's what you're supposed to do. You do the same thing with things like what's the dinosaur that comes out that Zakama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anytime I see someone playing Zakama, I do the same thing. I literally hold like
Yeah,
removal.
You know it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. And you make it so that it's not a problem by making sure it goes away every single time. That's how you do it. That's part of the game. The fact that people can't understand that blows my mind.
Honestly, what I've learned from playing with you in particular, out of everyone I've played with, is that you can very, very easily make up the discrepancy in power in a deck by just packing more policing in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just have more answers. You might not have the budget to have these explosive plays, but you can keep the table in check. You can see like what needs to be done, and you can go from there, right? The answer isn't like oh well, everyone else is doing it. That The answer is just to put some more answers in and just get better at politicsing in the game. Learn to talk to your friends a bit more. But
Yeah.
I wanted to say something too for the who's laughing at this. Number one is everyone made the worst argument you could about why they're never changing the reserve list. Everyone lost their collective minds over, oh, your $100 card is worth less and stuff. You think they could redo the reserve list after this reaction? People are we had to take a section of this thing to be like, hey guys, like don't bomb threat the committee. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the again, that's not our group. There's people mad, but they're never rolling the reserve list back after this. And then the
No.
other thing is that with such an aggressive outcry of this, right? Um, all Wizards is doing is being like, oh well, people do like this fast mana. They do like these powerful cards. We are right. It's the people who are wrong. So again, all everyone did was just kind of give Wizards like the go ahead to be like, yeah, keep printing expensive stuff. We like it. We don't want it gone from the format. So
Yeah.
everyone keeps making the joke. It's going to be Jeweled or Lotus. It just taps for 4 this time.
Yeah.
Can't
I
play it on
like that.
play Jeweled Lotus 2, like the Meat Hook Massacre 2. You can't play it on turn 1 or turn 2. I wanted
Yeah.
to quickly go over there. I think what made it worse is they first off the Josh Lee Kwai from
Yeah.
Command Zone
Josh
step
Kawhi.
stepped down from the rules committee over it. Good.
Yeah. As well.
The CAG,
As
yeah.
well as uh, who was the other person?
Did someone
Chris-
did someone else too now?
Yeah. So there's two people. So it started off with Josh Kawhi, and then the other one was Kristen Gregory.
Okay.
Yeah. So they stepped down like a couple days later. And you know what? I don't blame them because like a lot of people thought the rules committee and the CAG,
Yep.
okay, so the community advisory group were the same.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of flack too.
Well, that brings me into like the last point is like we're in a digital like utopia age where you can communicate anything with anyone across any borders in any language like so easily. And like the my big problem with the rules committee is it's just this like secretive like shadow organization that we have the data and we've been hearing this and everyone's like, okay, could you show us that? And they're like, yes, it's controversial. We keep it from there, right? Like I don't like the idea of an advisory board. I don't like the idea of a rules committee dictating commander. Maybe again, they were fighting for their lives in like the rules committee Discord, and like, a bunch of people were constantly asking the same thing. What gives you the right to dictate how we play? And some of the answers, like from like Toby, were like, oh well, like we cultivated the format. Like, oh, we were here first, so go do something else. We don't like it. Make your own format. That's a trash excuse and stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna do that and everything, like you should be able to have like why are these secretive like conversations and stuff? Why can't like the doing like a once every 4 month 3 paragraph write up of like here's the July one. I'll read it. It is a couple major things have happened in Magic since our last quarterly update in April. Wizards banned all cards that bring stickers or attraction to the game from all tournaments. We'd like to reaffirm their legality here, so they left other things that were banned. They did a very small blurb on Nadu. Rules, no change, and then they talked about silver border cards, and that's it. That's the so for a long time, the rules committee is basically, this is just my personal opinion, been useless dinosaurs who don't do a single thing. They don't like communicate. They don't talk to things. Like they don't do it. They're not putting up polls. They're not saying like, hey guys, like here's like if you're a game store owner, we would love your feedback on what you're seeing at your nights and everything like that. Like
Yeah.
there's no portal, there's no discussion and everything. It's all these like it's all these like personal conversations. And again, that's why I would not be a good rules committee member because like again, I would well, I'd probably be better than them. Can't say I like any of them right now. But the fact that they're not having these conversations like publicly kind of like, well, what are you doing then, right? Like why is like a group of like again unelected random people who self-appoint themselves the stewards of the format, like why are they choosing how we play and who we play? Like again, there's some things on the ban list that make sense there's some things I don't like there. I want Primeval Titan off, free my boy. But
Yeah.
there's just like my big problem is the secretiveness of like the like we did this, and that's the long roundabout is That's why people are resigning from the CAG, is because like even from their own advisory group they didn't talk to them.
Yeah, and like they explain in their response in an FAQ why they didn't tell the K, because they wanted to keep it like a closed circle. They didn't want any kind of like people to like rush and like do like almost like inside trading. Like they didn't want them to, like to actually have the information leaked out ahead of time because they're worried about people just because they knew there would be panic selling.
Hmm.
They knew there would be a huge issue. Okay, so like okay, fine. You guys explained that you guys didn't talk to the keg because of that. All right, fine. I will accept it. I don't like it. I will accept it. Okay. Now, what like let's face it. Overall, okay, we're not arguing about the cards really being banned or anything. We're just arguing and disagreeing with how this was rolled out in
Yeah.
the end. I know it's taken us an hour to talk about this, but basically we're we're like I really want to touch the financial section here too. Like so it's gonna be a little longer. But like yeah, like we really disagree with how this was rolled out. And they said that they agreed. They rolled this out in a very, very bad way.
Hmm.
Right? Do we need something like the Rules Committee? My opinion, yes, we still
Boo.
do.
Boo.
Re- Reason why, okay, is because it's not like even though like we're a format, we're not an official format in a sense, okay. But like I don't want to leave something like this to Wizards,
That's fair.
okay, because if Wizards was taking over, okay, and imagine how much worse it could be. All right,
Uh,
you need another party to come in regardless of how much we hate the decisions that they make sometimes, you need a third party to come in and be like, okay, this is what we do. This is how we're talking to people and everything. How they talk to people, how they do the polls, I don't know. I do agree with you, Daniel, that they should be like, setting up like polls and everything and
public
asking people
data.
like, hey, if if you follow us on Twitter or in our Discord, let's here are the polls. Let's ask, like Josh Lee Kwai did it after he heard all this stuff. He's like, "Hey, are you for or against these
These bands,
bans?"
yeah.
And it was like basically almost a split 50-50.
Our I put it up on Instagram. That's where like we're most active and stuff, and we got a lot of responses, and it was I think ours was something like 60-40 and stuff, but that was still much closer than I thought it was going to be. I
Yeah,
thought that people were going to be like super against it. So there is definitely like a big amount of people that were much more happy. I saw like a lot of jealous reasons like, oh, well, blah blah blah, you're kind of dumb. But I wanted to say, as far as they're not wizards, that's not an excuse I buy. They all have NDAs with wizards. They all interact and talk with wizards and like update
yeah,
wizards on how it's the excuse of like they're not wizards. It's just a very very like easy way for wizards to, because that's all it is. Their wizards is just trying to shield their like corporate interests by being able to point and say we didn't do this,
yeah.
right? Like
You know
it's
what?
just because had this been wizards, people would have like again set wizards on fire for this, right? Like the threats were not okay. Again, it's not that, but the criticism was absolutely valid. This was one of the, I couldn't, if you asked me to spend the next week thinking of, hey Daniel, could you think of a better way to do could you think of a way to do a worse job than they did? I don't think I'd be able to. I think I'd have to be like, oh, like we also like they like maybe they like put some like colorful language in it, like something like that. Like, it's just it was done so bad. No public discourse, just like a quick, the write up is like a joke. It's like 3 paragraphs, and they're like, all right, we're done now, boys. There's five
Yeah,
people on it. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 very small paragraphs. So like the equivalent of 2 paragraphs a person is their write up. Like that's the elected. That's what we get for a multi month. The last one was July. This is basically October. So like they put their collective effort into, all right, we did 2 paragraphs each. Call it a day, right? It's just
you can't compare it in that sense. I'm sorry, but I disagree with that. You can't really compare it in that sense.
I don't know.
Like everyone just write up 2 paragraphs and everything. Like, come on, man. Like,
Like like I
now we're being a little petty.
well, like I said, I I view them as dinosaurs who do nothing, and I view their position as just a spot for them to plug their Patreons and like check it out. That's just it. It's an honorary position that I've found does nothing beneficial for the format. And the idea again, like that they are, oh, okay, well, like they're separate from Wizards and they have the best intention. I don't think they do. I think they have the best intention for their vision of Magic, which sure, but again, it's the same reason why I would never be like Daniel should be the rules committee, and you know what I mean, because again, I would also probably want to do it like it'd have to be public or it would be enforced on my way, and there would be no instants and sorceries and decks. We would all play big creatures, and we would all play 30 turn long Magic where we have 100 tokens each.
Yeah, but like I don't know. Like I feel that like I might not agree with the rules committee, but and yes, they have ties with lots of ties with Wizards, right? But let's just look at it this way, okay? If there was no rules committee and Wizards just says like whatever, they just let it go, okay? We still have all these things. Things might get crazier, and things might make the format even worse off for, and it would trickle down to the casual format.
But I
Okay,
still don't think so. I still think that people would have those conversations and be like, I did not like that. Like,
but that
God,
no, but the thing is, okay, that like we're used to it because for us, we build our community around that, and we try to like anyone that goes against that, like we have our own way of playing it and whatnot. And like I said before, in like we try to avoid those problematic people and those problematic players. Okay, and I'm saying that because we're privileged for that. We don't live in places where like you might only have one game store, and of that one game store, like you have two people out of 30 people that are like us, and everyone else is playing like super high power, super expensive stuff. Okay, we know that there are communities that are like that.
mm-hmm.
Okay, we're lucky that we can pick and choose which LGSs we want to go with. We can jump around different play groups and whatnot. So I can understand that. Okay, there is a good chance that for these other places, these other communities, or these other LGSs, it could the the power level could be trickling down into the casual format. I totally understand that. Okay,
I do have to
but
say really quickly there. You are right. That's not a part I considered and stuff because we have an insane EDH community. Like we're
yeah,
from Calgary, right? We have like
yeah,
crazy. We have like four like fairly big stores that have like EDH nights, like different things. Like I could if I wanted to go out and play EDH here and just find random pods, I could do like I think there's a Monday night, a Wednesday night, like
and
semi-competitive
Friday night.
one, Friday night, and
Yeah,
then people also do Saturday night at Sentry Box, right? So
yeah,
there's like a crazy amount, and these aren't like 4-man tables. We have like 60 or 70 like people at like some of these stores, like constantly out every night to play. Like our community is huge, right? So yes, maybe that also skews like my personal view because like if you live in a small town and you got to like drive in to play at the one store, or there's like only you're like just in a smaller place and there is a game store there, right? You kind
yeah,
of you don't have that because again, if I didn't want to play at game store A, I just don't go to game store A.
yeah. Like what it comes down to, in my opinion, here, okay, is that the majority of the backlash. Like let's get into this because we're running out of time. Let's come into the financial section. Okay, everyone's mostly were pissed off mainly because they lost a crap ton of money. Okay, and we gotta look at it at a bigger picture. Okay, like people said, okay, it was estimated anywhere between like around 100
It's millions of dollars,
to
yeah.
$130 million lost. I personally think it's way more.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, because these people that are doing the calculations are basically, from the looks of it, basing it just on English cards. They're not accounting for the other languages.
Hmm.
Okay, there's we like sure like we have Japanese, we have German, we have Italian, we have Spanish. Like they were not printed as much, but like I say, it's probably, if you count everything, maybe it's more like 300 to 350 million lost, maybe more.
Hmm.
Okay, it's quite a bit. But like that's what people were mostly pissed off about, and their outcry. It's not that they can't play these, like yes, you have some people that are outcrying saying like, yes, we're pissed about this. But Did you see all the posts of people ripping the cards and burning them and
The
everything? It's
wild
like,
tantrums, yeah, I loved it. I loved
are
it.
you guys mental?
Yeah,
Like,
I will say this right now. Send me any number of Jeweled Lotuses and
yeah,
Mana Crypts. If you guys don't want them and you want to throw your tantrums, trust me, they will have a good home here. I will still play them.
yeah.
Send
Like,
it. I'll set a PO
I'm
box
just like,
up and Soul Rings.
I, you have my soul rings, you know that.
uh,
But like you, that's where most of the tantrums went off. Okay, that's where most people like flew off on the deep end, in my opinion.
mhm.
Okay, first off, like yes, this is a game. There should not be value on this stuff, but at the same time, there is. Okay, because it's a game. You're gonna have certain cards that are more valuable than others. You're gonna have some that are more powerful than others, and because of that, if we're buying and selling cards, okay, you're gonna have higher value for certain things. I totally get that. All right. The fact that people are saying like, "Oh, I lost my investment" and all that stuff, don't do it as an investment.
Yeah, the cards
That's
don't
just
matter if you don't sell them. My cards are worth nothing
yeah.
because I'm not selling them.
Okay. Like, it is you shouldn't be putting your like it is if you have it where like you have it as like in an emergency you can sell it and everything. Okay, I can understand that. Okay, and you just lost a bunch of money for that. Yes, I can understand that. Okay, it's like putting it into like stocks or something like that.
Mhm.
Sure. Okay, but at the same time, all right, stuff like this is gonna happen. All right, like when all this was going on, and I sent Daniel and Slothy like an explanation of why I feel this way.
Mhm.
Like we live in Canada, okay, and like we literally had the government pass a law saying that we can't buy and sell handguns up here.
Mhm.
Okay, you know how many millions of dollars were lost from that?
Well, and from stores who do that and everything like sell that. There's always going to be like a financial loss to pretty much any industry, right? Like there's
Yeah,
regulations change, but you can't even we forget handguns. You can't use plastic bags here, right? Like our city banned plastic bags and they changed everything over to paper. So like if you were a plastic bag manufacturer, yikes,
you're you had nothing. Yeah,
right?
this is and that's the thing. We're talking about like the government. If you look at the government as a like the ruling rules committee in that sense, okay, and they are saying something and it affects it. People are like they should have no right to make such a financial impact. Are you kidding me? This happens all the time. If it's not with the government, it's with some sort of other ruling body of some other committee. You can name anything that's like that, and stuff like this happens. Grow up.
But you could elect them.
No, you can't.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So in government, yes, but
You
you can't like. But if we're talking about like a
there's
like
regulatory bodies. I know there's self appointment and stuff. What I did, like,
yeah,
I know the point you're saying. There's one point I want to say before I keep forgetting it, though. I think the big onus for these problems is on the rules committee. If you want to call yourselves the stewards of the format, you want to like say like, oh, we have the best in mind. Maybe why don't you guys take 5 minutes to say, hey, we're seeing a lot of like complaints about like this, so like we want to reiterate that like these cards like are pretty powerful. Like maybe a single thing. You have all this internal data, but not a single post about like, hey guys, like maybe let's keep like that. Like there's not a single write up, not a single anything of like, hey, let's keep casual stuff casual. There's nothing like the. I
but
blame. Uh, I just want to say quickly. I blame the rules committee entirely for like the state of the format. If you want to be the stewards of it, again, we're just people doing a podcast, and you and I openly advocate for like playing like more fun things, having a good time. Like where's that from their buddies? Like they've hid behind a rule zero conversation for so long, and then this new ban kind of shows that like okay, well we don't actually believe rule zero is effective. We don't believe it works. Like it's the it is on them. They should be like saying these things like right that again. I work like 90 hours a week. You work what like 60, 70 hours a week? We have
let's
time.
not talk to that.
Yeah, we have time to jump on and just be like, hey guys, hey everyone who listens to us, which is again, it's not. I guarantee it's not the same amount of people as the rules committee. We have time to
Yeah,
jump on and make a quick like, hey guys, like this is what we're thinking and stuff. Hey guys, maybe stop playing staples in every deck. It's like, hey guys, you don't need a smothering type. Like we can say that. And again, I don't think I'm a uniquely special person. I just think I'm a dude who likes to talk Magic. And if the rules committee people are like the stewards or then where's that from them, right? Like that's the big thing is like I said, they keep doing the nothing, blah blah blah, the oh we're trying to make a tool with wizards to like work on a better rule zero conversation and stuff like that. Like, why don't they just like come out and just be like, hey guys, like we're seeing lots of complaints of like casual play get wrecked and everything. Here's maybe a definition of what we think casual play should be. It's not the be all end all, but like here's our thoughts of casual, right? Maybe talk anything like you're never, ever going to get a power level down where I can say 1 to 10 because everything's a 7. No one's honest with their decks and stuff, right? It's never going to work.
It's true.
You can't make a, if you have 100 decks like me, you could rank them 1 to 100, but that's still going to be objectively different than if I gave Sherman the same 100 decks and said rank these, be different, right? He'd be like, "Where's your instance?" But I just wanted to say, from that, like the financial things, that sucks. It sucks if you were excited. It sucks if you saved up for those things, right? Those things happen. My bigger problem is that they, like I've said repeatedly, and we'll say it again, they're dinosaurs that have like no actual comprehension of how big the format is. For some people, Commander is all they have, right? It's all they look forward to. It's a, like I say all the time, self-expressive format. It's how people get together with their friends and stuff, right? COVID, like during all the shutdown with COVID stuff, the Magic community was like all that got some people through it and stuff, right? Like it's the same for everything. You might not have a great life. You might have like just like insurmountable like bills or like family problems. You might have like relationship problems and stuff. Magic is just a group of people who are there, who you can get together with, who you can like talk with. They're my buddies who I can get together with and just sit down and get away from the problems of the world. And that's why whenever anyone says like, oh, it's just cardboard, it's just that and stuff, it's not that. It's like it's more than that to people. It's something that matters. Magic matters to me a lot. Magic matters to my friends a lot, and it's how I get along with them. Like it's how I see people. It's how I've met people. Like I met Sherman and Slothy both through Magic stuff, right? And they're like very very close friends of mine. That it just it's a lot for people. So the idea that there's just like this like group that can like cause all this discourse by saying like, oh, we ban this, we ban that, and stuff like that. Like maybe take your role a little more seriously. Maybe reach out to people, like talk to people and stuff instead of like just like put a YouTube video up of something. Be like, hey guys, we're seeing this come up a lot, and this is like where it's gonna go if it doesn't like give a warning instead of like just like being like, oh, from on high we ban the fast mana. Oh, like I hate it.
I get that. Like they do address why they don't do like the watch list and everything in the document, in the FAQ document and whatnot.
It's a terrible
So
argument.
like, sorry.
I was saying the free the document I wanted to go over as like our last thing, but it's terrible arguments. But yes, carry on.
Yeah, I get that and everything. I totally understand. All right. Like overall though, like do we like do I care about the rules committee? I kind of like my stance is, as you guys can tell, is different from Daniel's. I
Mhm.
do believe we do need something like the rules committee. Okay, we might be on the podcast together. We might play, and be good friends with each other, but we don't always have to see eye to eye. And this is something like we don't.
That's
Okay,
what I
we
like.
don't.
Yeah.
And it is what it is what it is. Okay, we do. I think we do need something like the rules committee. What my gripe is just how they rolled out this stuff and
Hmm.
how very non-transparent it was. Okay, and that's basically it. Okay, whether they are doing something good for the format or not, meh. Time will tell. Hindsight 50/50. Like we can always say like, oh, like in another year, whether it was or it wasn't, who cares? Okay. Um, but I do believe that we do need something like that, some group like this, okay? And yeah, and like let's not be jerks about it. If we don't agree with the bannings, fine. We don't agree with the bannings. Don't throw out threats and everything.
Yeah.
You just look like an idiot.
That looks pretty silly to be like, I'm gonna come to your house. Yeah, it's like it's silly. Like oh, we need to find out where they live and stuff. For what? What are you gonna do? Be like, I want unban my card. It's dumb.
Like
The threats are silly. The
like yeah.
I was gonna
So
say maybe we like disagree. I think we could find more agreement if we change the statement to we need something but not this. That's
okay.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I can say
There.
that like sure
There.
EDH should not be like a lawless wilderness where like I play Primeval Titan 4 copies off in every deck and everyone's but you know what I mean, like it's sure we can say that at least that like that we should chill down a little on the like disband it, but like I think I think at least my point is that the rules committee as it stands right now has like lost any mandate they have. People enough people are mad about it, and enough people, game stores, players individually, are at the point I got to with the Golos ban where they said these people suck and I'm not respecting it. So yes, there should be something, but it needs to be a different thing, and we could talk a little bit about what that would be after. But I just wanted to say that I do agree. I see your point there, and again, like we don't have to see eye to eye on things, and it's a bummer Slothy wasn't able to be on this one because I think he would have thought very differently than both of us too, right?
Oh
That's
yeah, 100% he would.
yeah, it's the fun part of like the of being different people. But I thought personally I thought that their frequently asked questions made things way worse. So I wanted to like quickly go over a few of them. I think it was horrible. There's one line in particular that I like that makes me again reiterate my like they're dinosaurs who suck and should all leave. So number one was they said, did the rules committee sell the cards? They said no. They're like basically their reasoning is like trust us. We have basically a pact. It's our Nindo. It's our mantra that we wouldn't do that.
Sure.
That
Sure.
again, that's a terrible argument. And like they're like, oh, like we invite you to. You're always gonna have like speculation that you're gonna act on it. People do it all the time. Martha Stewart went to jail for insider trading, right? If Martha
Yeah.
Stewart's gonna do it, that it's easy. So again, that's like not even something they should have touched on. They should have just been like, nah, we didn't do it. They said, will they roll back the changes? Do you listen to it? We have no desire or intent to roll back these changes, and we believe doing so would make the financial concerns worse. One of the only good things. So number one, they should have rolled them back that day. They should have been like, hey, this was a mistake. The blowback was immense and immediate. Now it's too late to do it because so many people, like you said, have like ripped them up, thrown tantrums. They've sold their cards off and everything, right? It would make it worse. It would show them that like you could bully them out of it and stuff like that. So it's they're not going to roll it back at least for the moment. But like the again, that just that double down on like the hey, we know we've been universally criticized here for this. We're not doing anything about it. That was bad.
Can you imagine if like the EDH was around for a long time and like back in the day and they're like, okay, we're banning paper servants, and people were like, oh, I'm ripping off a paper servant, and everyone that like that's so stupid, and then
And then
like a few
unban
years
it.
later,
Like yeah,
yeah, how pissed would those people be? Let's face it, how like you're gonna be so upset about that, and just like once again, stop being children,
yeah.
stop being children,
Um,
okay?
their next one is why didn't you give advance notice of this change? This is to me, this is one of the parts that is like the worst part of this entire document. And they even started up, we'll own this one. Things could have been done much better. Yeah, every part of this could have been done better. So our policy on advance notice has been for many years to avoid muddy in the waters with advance warnings about what we're planning to ban. We used to have a watch list. First off, you should obviously talk about what's problematic in the format. There should be no world in which you can't discuss the bad. Like there should be a hey, these cards are obnoxious, and we're like letting you know to chill down your use of them to appropriate. Like the idea that like no, like we're just gonna keep it to ourselves. Just a little secret list for us that we just that's a garbage argument. That's terrible. Anyways, so it said it caused noticeable grief when things weren't acted on. Okay, because you should have acted on things that were constantly problematic, like Flash and Hulk, which took so long and did seep down into like lower power games, which was a problem, and they finally got rid of it. It said slow down our ability to react when we saw a problem. How? You put up, you make a post. What are you doing? Like you're not crossing a border. It said it shifted losses to less enfranchised players who are less aware. Also a terrible argument of like, oh well, like blah blah blah. Like if people don't look at it, then they might no. That's a horrible idea for a watch list. The no watch list thing terrible arguments top to bottom, and I don't think there's any defense on them. Like before I move on to it, like do you think the not talking about problem cards is a good strategy?
Well, I I don't like I understand where you're coming from, okay? Because if you're talking about things like saying like, like let's take Mana Crypt for example. Okay, saying like, okay, Mana, you know what? Actually, let's pick something that's not banned right now. Let's say Displacer Kitten.
Yep.
Power power card. Okay. Flicker is one of the strongest mechanics out there as time goes on. Okay. Should we they could be like, okay, we're seeing a huge surge of people constantly using Displacer Kitten for all these different things and all that stuff, and it's on the watch list. The moment you, like, I kind of agree with them where, like, if you put it on the watch list, okay, people are kind of iffy on whether to buy it or not, okay, but and that's what they're worried about. They don't want people being like, I don't want to buy this because it might get banned and everything. I can totally understand that. At the same time, though, I think it's a stupid argument because, once again, look at Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yep. Well, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You can bend things, but if there is something like a Displacer Kitten, right, where they're like, hey, like this card is like it's like kind of format warping and stuff. We are getting complaints about it. I think maybe people are going to be like, well, maybe I won't buy that for my lower if the play group I'm going to play with is going to be unhappy about it and they're saying like, hey, like we're watching this, then maybe I don't put that like quote unquote staple into every deck, right? Like if they had said Furistic Study, for example, that's a
Yeah.
great card that generates insane advantage and stuff. It's in a lot of decks. If they said like, hey guys, like this is kind of creeping into too many decks, we're like getting a lot of complaints about it, then maybe not everyone spends the time. The card's still going to have its value. People are still going to buy it for its other purposes or higher power, right? Because again, where a Displacer Kitten is welcome is like those higher power tables where they're flickering things in and out trying to combo. They don't care about that, right? But
Yeah.
like it's just like the so I think there is like both, but like they should at least talk about like, hey, we're seeing this at like lower power things. Like this is a combo enabling piece, and like you should be aware of that. Like some people are unhappy with it and stuff. Do with that information what you will. Instead of like I said, this is a secret list that I keep here as a treat for myself.
Yeah. But but at the same time, the problem I have with that is like, because like it's if it's on the list, it'll probably stay on the list until like more cards come out, and then it's just no one really cares about it anymore. Like so on the command zone they said like Dockside Navigator back in the day was a huge problem card. All right. And now, and like it would have been on the watch list in a sense. Okay. Now, no one cares because quite literally, Displacer Kitten has taken over.
Yep.
Okay. Which is why it's like, okay. So if you put something like a Displacer Kitten on a watch list, okay, like you run into all these other problems and ratifications. Okay. And I can understand their reason behind it. Whether I agree with it or not, that's a different story. Okay. But like I can understand the reasoning behind it. All right.
Hmm.
So, overall, like I do want some sort of watch list. Like, let's look at it this way. Okay, the One Ring
Yep.
that is legitimately something that everyone is watching.
Hmm.
Okay, in every format.
Yeah.
Okay, why can't we just be like, hey guys, we see this is a problem, like you said. All right, so it is on our radar. That's all you have to say,
There's
and just be
nothing
like, okay, and see what happens after that. All right.
there's nothing hard about like saying like, hey guys, Orcish Bowmasters is not a casual card. Please stop slotting it into every deck that has black as a thing, right? Like it's just like there's very easy ways to just say like, hey, we don't view this card as very casual. Do that.
Oh,
Do with what you will. I don't play Orcish Bowmasters in anything. I think that card's
yeah.
obnoxious.
But that's the thing though. It that comes down to the person being honest. Like, okay, let
Well, true,
let's look
and
at Brian.
I was gonna say, and your meta also might view that as casual. They might think it's fun. So
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, let's look at Brian. Brian love like I keep on telling Brian because we still play with together and whatnot, and we chat a lot with each other. Okay, Brian makes decks where he's like he goes off and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it did so well." And I'm like, "Brian, you literally just showed us $800 worth of cards on your board states.
Yeah, you're playing every one of the staple cards. Of course it went
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Of course it's gonna go well. Okay. And he's like, but I didn't think it was a high powered deck. Once again, you just showed us $800 on your board states. Let's use your brain for a second.
There was a lot,
Okay.
like Brian is kind of a bad an abuser of the not being honest with things. But again, it's what Brian likes to play, right? Brian likes
Yeah.
the fancy, cool looking cards and everything, and there's a place for that in Magic and stuff. But Brian does get targeted a lot. It was a joke for a long time that Brian dies first, and Brian dies first because of how Brian builds.
Exactly.
Alliteration.
100% exactly, right? And that's the thing. Like Brian has accepted that.
Hmm.
Okay. But at the same time, we hear stories of people where they're like, oh, my group keeps on picking on me and I'm sick of it. Look at how you're building.
Make a group
Look
hug
at the
deck.
cards you're using. There's a reason why we play budget or make budget decks or make jank decks. We used to be in that situation. Okay.
Yeah,
We used to get picked on constantly.
I was saying like because I was talking to you about it and stuff. My
Yeah.
old decks and my new decks, crazy difference and stuff. When I'm playing
Yeah.
Rigo, oh no, you killed my Slitherblade agent. You know what I mean? It's remove it. It's garbage. Go ahead. It's
Yeah.
the like removal only hurts when you know it's like something important and stuff, right? Everyone knows Smothering Tide's a very good card. That's why no one likes when their Smothering Tide gets blown up. If it was just like something that generated a treasure return, everyone would be like, oh yeah, that's fine, whatever, let him have it. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's you get targeted when you play stuff like that. But I think like I've seen Smothering Tithe be way more problematic than a lot of these cards, right? So again, like another conversation of like, hey, like Smothering Tithes is kind of creeping into a lot of decks because that stat is very, very easy to do. I can go on to like really quickly. I can go over to EDH
EDH rec.
Rec
I bet you it's probably
Smothering.
like in the 20 percentage, 30 percentage.
Yeah, in decks that it's available to go into, how much? 25% of decks, 1/4 of decks are running Smothering Tide. That's a very, very easy statistic to look at and everything like that, right? We can see that it's a $33 card. It's in 25% of 200, or is that 2 million or 200?
Probably 2 million.
Uh,
Because remember, it's all decks that can use that color.
051.
Like we've had that argument with one person before when we were doing our staples. They're like, "Oh, you said staples like have to be like 10% or higher. That's just stupid." It's
Yeah,
like, look, okay,
this
a
is in
Pearl
2 million
Medallion
decks, yeah.
is a Pearl Medallion is a staple in a mono white deck. It is not a staple in a 5-color deck. Grow up.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, so it's in 25% of 2 million decks. That's a great piece to like say like, "Hey guys, look at this. This is showing up all the time everywhere. Let's maybe chill it down a little bit because it's going really well." Like EDH Rec isn't a be all end all list, but it has like nice data and stuff. That's why you can go and see. That's why there's if you go and type Golos, which is banned, you can see that the most common types of deck with Golos were lands. There was 183 decks that were lands. Then they had big mana artifacts, Eldrazi Planeswalker, and none of those all together add up to the lands because it was a lands commander that people played lands with. It's a landfall deck. The high synergy cards are all gate cards and land fetch things. It wasn't a big mana pile thing. But I digress. I've accepted my Golos fate. No, it was like a terrible thing, right? Like, but you can go and you can see what's in things, right?
Yeah.
Again, you can see Field of the Dead in 30% of 770 decks in that thing, or 3% overall. All right, well that's probably not that problematic, right? Like those things are very, very easy to do that. But again, right here's a great example. Nadu. Nadu found its way. It got banned and stuff, so
Yeah.
I can't see the stats on it and stuff. But Nadu, even there, it said that Nadu had found its way into 51% of 590 of 5,939 decks. Right? Like there's a lot of things. Nadu was a problem. No one cares. Like no one cares Nadu was banned because it was universally disliked as a card. But this is
Yeah.
again, I've given more data to cards like prevalence right now, like for the Golos ban, than they ever did for the justification of banning Golos. They just said, we see it as big mana stuff, and that's it.
Yeah.
But that was it. There's no data to, like I said, to look at that. It's all lands, graveyard, like you could see it. Data's available.
Yeah.
But so again, I think a watch list important, but I wanted to continue on with this. We're tangenting because we got so many feelings.
Yeah.
It says on top of that, many recent bannings have come from community feedback, so there was public awareness in advance. That's a horrible argument. That like, okay, well, like I was complaining about it, so I knew it was coming. Terrible argument. Your responsibility
The,
should be to let people know what's problematic.
the fact that you had such a huge outcry says no, you did not reach out enough.
Yeah. Lastly, discussing potential bans with more people increases the chance of leaks, which make the losses unfair. It shouldn't be a secret. Why do we have this shadow government of EDH rulers, right? Like that's the problem is like I should know that like Jeweled Lotus is gonna get banned soon because people are abusing it, and then people might stop doing it. The next one is they said in the case of the September 2024 bans, though the financial impacts of this change justified more discussion and awareness. So even they were like, all right, that was on us. It said, will you give more advance notice in this? It said, we'll be discussing the concept of warming up. There should be no discussion on it. It should be like you should have ongoing conversations about problem cards. At least I think. Why didn't you ban one card at a time? This is the part that I think is the most problematic of all of their frequently asked.
Yeah.
So I'll read it. I'll let you go, and then I'll go. So the number 5 is, why didn't you ban one card at a time and see how it went? The decision to ban multiple cards at the same time, Dockside, Crypt, and Lotus, was based on the on the belief that it sends a stronger message about what we're trying to achieve. Agree with that goal or not, a slow drip would have diluted the impact if the problem is real and we wanted to act decisively. You go.
So I honestly think that was a stupid move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like now to a side, okay. Like if the between the three, Dockside, Jeweled Lotus, and the Mana Crypt, all right. We can all say like yes, Dockside was the only card that was really creeping that we could see creeping into casual formats because
Mm-hmm.
we play a lot of casual formats and we see it in casual formats.
Yeah, I
Okay,
see Dockside.
so if you say removing Dockside, okay, I can see that. All right, people are going to be pissed, especially in the CEDH because that was the only real way of making red viable.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding, I don't play CEDH, but that's what I
It was a
heard.
big part of the
Okay,
puzzle. Yeah.
yeah. Now, Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, I think they should have held off. Okay, sure, they said it would slow down the how effective these rollbacks were, but in all honesty, okay, you can be like, okay, we've banned these two, we're looking at these other two, okay, because we want to see the impact of how the decks are going, you know, and if we'll see like how the changes are. Okay, you don't get- you can't be like, okay, we don't think this is gonna happen. Okay, we don't think the format's gonna slow down fast enough if we do these. You're trying to predict the future. You don't know until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Because the financial ratifications and even worse, the trust that we had with everyone is officially gone.
If you were gonna ban Jeweled Lotus, you should have banned Jeweled Lotus on the spoiler date. Right? Nothing different is available. No, it's not a different card that the text has changed. If you thought that it was such a problematic card, then that should have been like, hey guys, like we get you're all excited, but nuh-uh. They should have just like said like rule like that's day one, that's banned. You guys can rule zero it and it's still gonna be a valuable card, but we don't think
Yeah.
it's format healthy and stuff. There was literally no point in time where everyone was like, well, like this is probably not gonna be that like powerful or impactful. That's why I don't see it in a lot of tables because everyone's well aware how very powerful it is, right? It's yeah, they should have done if they were going to do that. It should have been like a day one thing because, like you said, leaving it alone for so long did really erode a lot of people's trust and stuff, right? Especially after it was like another chase card this year. Mana Crypt
Yeah.
was like, and Mana Crypt and all its cool variants were like a chase card. That I know a lot of people personally who paid a lot of money trying to crack those, right? I haven't cracked packs in ages. I've been burned too many times by bad product and by like I just don't really crack packs anymore. I buy singles. We've talked about like the great magic freeze of like chilling out the power creep and stuff, right? The like we've addressed a lot of these things. We've been pretty clear on our stance on a lot of these things. We're not powerhouse. Like if you want Daniel's Power Hour as a show and stuff, I'll build some high power decks and I'll show off some heat, but but that's not what the Into the 99 show is, right? Like we're like you said, we're casual buddies just talking Magic, we're talking things, and one of the things I like is it's the ever growing love of the format. I see lots of things that I had no respect for or love for, like the Doctor Who set. I don't like Doctor Who. I didn't like the set. I didn't like the artwork and stuff. I'm just not a fan. But like seeing like all the cool stuff Slothy has come up with from it and stuff, right? Like that excites me. It's a nice time, right? So it always should have been that, but like the trust to like, why would you buy chase cards or like chase them in packs if you think they're just going to keep getting banned, right? And my big problem with it was the line that it sends a stronger message about what we're trying to achieve. Why are you trying to send us a message? Just say like,
Just
hey
tell us.
guys, like chill out a little. Like again, I'm just a guy. I'm just a boy, just a little boy. And I say all the time, chill down and like maybe start playing the Fire Diamonds. We've all, I think, like most of our play groups have like kind of shifted to like, at least like our big ones have kind of shifted to more like slowed down, enters tapped, like chill out
Yeah.
stuff. And I've had way more fun games. I've had a lot more fun games that are a lot like, they're different because I'm not relying on that power of the card to do it. I've been blood mood one too many times to keep doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, like again, I don't like the we're trying to send a stronger message thing. That it was inconsistent as well with the Soul Ring thing. That was a very stupid blurb to be like, oh, Soul Ring also meets the criteria, but we think it's part of that. So it was a horrible. They never should have written that part. That was terrible.
I kind of agree and disagree, just because I think they should have they needed to write it down because everyone would have complained about it regardless
That's fair.
or pointed it out regardless. So they had to come up with some sort of response for that. They knew that was coming. So
What I'm
whether
the
we like that response or not is different.
what I'm the most like surprised about. I was going to say shocked, but not shocked. Is how many people I have seen write ban Soul Ring. I didn't realize that there was like a group of people who didn't like it. You usually lose the game if you turn one Soul Ring, you're more likely statistically to lose the game.
True, 100%.
Yeah, because you have everyone fight you. But yeah, so
Yeah.
they said, did Wizards know that these were going to be banned? We've discussed the concerns about fast mana, including marquee cards. Like again, them knowing it's a marquee card is bad. Like Mana Crypt, blah blah blah, and had decided not to ban them until recently. That's wishy washy. They're so problematic that you've been talking to Wizards about them, but like you decided it is a terrible one. We've never sat on a banning once we decide. I didn't like that piece. It said, did you ban them specifically because they're expensive? I don't think so. They're expensive because they're powerful. I don't think if they were banning expensive cards, reserve list cards gone, right? Did you ban
Oh,
them
true.
specifically to target CEDH? It says no. That's another big problem is that everyone has this boogeyman of what CEDH is because like I make the joke of like the sweaty game store overlord, but a lot it's mean to say, but that is a lot of the CEDH community where they're not out for that like buddy talk. Like again, they're having fun with their friends, but they are like, this is my tuned up $8,000 deck and I have to win. Right? Like that's the
True.
so again, and not all of them, not all, but again, it's so CDH has kind of become the boogeyman, and then you see like, oh, this card is popular in CDH. Then I lost this card, and I'm like, oh, CDH players are bullying, but it is like still a friendly community. They're just playing Magic differently, right? So
Yeah.
this, I don't think it was a ban towards CDH, but I think it's the boogeyman of CDH has like caused everything that we think is high power to be considered CDH. I've had a lot of decks that are not good, and people are like, oh, I didn't know we were playing CDH. I won't say the name, but one of the funniest stories I still have to this date is that like somebody got like mad enough to rage scoop after I hard cast Omniscience with mana, with lands, no rocks in play, hard cast and Omniscience, 0 cards in hand, and they're like, I didn't know we were playing CDH, and they picked up. I
Yeah.
didn't know we were playing combo decks. I had nothing to do. It was objectively the worst card I could have drawn in that deck at the time, and I had tapped Niv Mizzet to draw it. So I had no other draw option available, and yeah. So like the boogeyman of CEDH kind of scares things. Does it affect the CEDH metagame? Of course it does. Obviously those things. Why weren't the CAG told about it? I don't like this thing where they're like they've been in numerous conversations about format speed. Again, I also think these should be public things. Why are these opinions like all secretive? They were not informed of the choice to ban these cards because we felt the information needed to be kept under wraps, like secretive and stuff. That's not a good look.
Yeah, like why have the keg if you're not going to consult them?
Well, and if you don't trust them, right? That's one of the
Yeah,
reasons that Josh Lee Kwai left it, right? Is because of
yeah,
that. And then the final is, are other cards safe from being banned? Yes, but not beyond reproach. We're not going to paint ourselves into a corner that will never ban expensive cards. And then it said we can categorically say that we do not want to ban cards that are staple parts of Commander, and that we will try to keep the format stable going forward unless those cards are causing large problems. That's kind of a non-answer. That's not even answering their own question.
political answer.
It's like yes, but no, but maybe, but like, and again, they should never. The price of a card should never be the defining fact. That is one thing that I don't agree with, is that like, oh, they shouldn't have banned this because these are expensive and stuff. Jeweled Lotus, the feeling, if Jeweled Lotus was a widely available, let's say it was a common, it was printed in common, and you could have gotten 4 a box, if you know what I mean, like something like that, that wouldn't make the rarity of the card is not dictating the fun of the card, right? Like if it was more available, it wouldn't change. There would be a high power card and stuff, right? The same with Dockside. If Dockside was readily printed at a common and stuff, and it was just always there, I wouldn't just suddenly start slotting it in because like, oh, it's a budget piece and stuff. I'd be like, this isn't the gameplay thing that I'm really going for. So like the expensive is not the be all end all, right? I play a lot of expensive cards. I play one of my most fun decks is my Kenrith Group Hug deck. It's got dual lands in it. It's great. It's a very high budget deck. I don't win. I think I've won. I think I've played well over 100 games with that deck, and I think I've won maybe a single time, because that's not the intention of the deck, right? Like it's just the like cards being expensive don't make decks good. I get beat all the time, like I said, by Galadriel. Got my pee slapped by that Galadriel deck. I had to look up if sleep was legal the other day. That's a 30-cent card. I looked that up too. Banned that in my play group. That one got me. Put me to sleep.
You
Almost
you
sent
will
me to bed for
always
real.
have more. Yeah, you will always have more fun with cheaper cards
Yeah.
every single time. Seriously,
Well, it's fun to see. It's fun to see stuff that
different
people
cards.
can't predict. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Like it's just I didn't see that sleep coming at all. That thing, like I said, that thing was I'm going to be talking about that for probably weeks still, and I might start putting it in decks because it's a really, really cool piece. So there's going to be like there's always going to be people who want to play really cool, really powerful stuff. It feels good to win. I get it, but it also feels good to hang out with your buddies and stuff, right? If I invited
yeah,
Sherman over every night for Monopoly, and then I won Monopoly every night, Sherman would probably stop coming to play Monopoly. He'd probably be like, "Hey, man, this isn't super fun." If you're winning
yeah.
all of the games at your pod, you're not doing it right. You know, like it's just there's lots of game nights that I don't win any games, but I have fun. I have fun at like every one of my nights. Right? There's like
It's true.
there's a time and a place for everything and stuff, and like that's I think kind of we're close to winding it down on that. And I was gonna say like I've been pretty clear since the Golos ban that I don't like this like format idea that like we will dictate like what games are okay. I don't personally think Iona should have been banned a long time ago. Like the Iona's a feel bad card and everything, but again, Iona's not sitting in the command zone. That's like a 9-mana commander or something like that, 8 or 9 mana. It's pretty big. Most people aren't playing a monocolor deck, and even if they are, you know, you have a feel bad game, you say you don't like that or you do like it. It just I don't know. I didn't think that needed to be banned. There's a lot of stuff I kind of don't think needed to be banned. I've harped on for hours at this point, hours about why I hate Cyclonic Rift, but I still see like why some people like it, and like but again, I've enforced my opinion on that pretty clearly in my play groups and stuff. At least, right? Like I see it, and that's how things should be. People should just get into the habit of talking, the habit of like what you like, because again, at the end of the day, me liking or disliking the rules committee doesn't matter. There again, I've played the Meriadoc and Rosie deck. I've played at every convention that we've gone to since the Lord of the Rings stuff, that, like be a guest or just like me going there and stuff. And everyone always like thinks it's like a silly deck. Like no one has
Yeah,
been like, oh no, that's crazy, you can't do that and stuff. I just like to play like my silly little halflings together. It's we even did an episode that I called half they're halflings, so I'm following half the rules and they have partner, right? Like there's time and a place for everything in EDH, and that's the everything except threats. No threats unless it's to Cycriff players. Threats are in-game threats. But like we no out of game threats. But there
Yeah.
is like a time and a place for everything, right? Every deck has like a place under the sun in it. If you have like a fun and everything, there's a spot for your group. There's a spot for your play style. There's people out there that are going to enjoy the game with you, and I think that's like the most important thing to remember is that like yes, everyone's up in arms and everything. I personally don't think this changes much. I think that you can still, if you like playing those cards, and your pod isn't one of the people that are having problems with it, then there's no change. This
Yeah.
didn't matter. This didn't affect you at all in any way because there's no change to it. You can just do that. Your card might be worth a little less, but unless you were actively selling Jeweled Lotuses right now, then it doesn't change anything. You bought it to play. You can still play it if your play group is like that. And if your play group is not like that, then you were part of the problem by being like you're playing things that your play group wasn't enjoying. Don't do
No.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of it. Like I know we had so much like we had a lot of other things we wanted to get to, but like there's I know
There's
you
not
had a
enough
bunch of
time.
points. Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to get to on it?
Overall, like I agree with you. Like this ban, like whether you want to do it or not, it's up to your play group. Like in my play group I play on Sunday, I have one person. He's like, I'm still gonna play Dockside in my Pirates deck," and we're like, "Okay, we don't care," like because we literally don't care.
Mhm.
Okay, because it's not the deck's not bad, but it's like whether he has it or not doesn't really affect the deck. In all honesty, I don't even know why he had it in there to be honest, but that's besides the point. So
That's where
like
I
when it comes,
really quickly, what's the Revel and Riches? Every
yeah,
copy I have of Revel and Riches is in like decks like Admiral back at Brass because that's just every time I'm just like, yeah, it's got
that's
pirates.
the thing. He has Revel in Riches, and he'll cast it. And the moment we see that, we literally all swing out and kill him that turn. So it's
I've
like, you take that card out. It's killing you.
I've never won with Revel and Riches. Every time I have the mana to do it, I'm like, I sack 3 mana before my turn. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
just please let us out of this game, Daniel.
But like overall, like will this ban help the format? I don't know, because we're so casual that like the fact that they said like we see these 3 cards creeping into casuals, we're just like, really? We only see 1 card. The other ones we don't.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I
what
see
kind of
some dock sides.
casual are you? Yeah, like how is a casual deck throwing in cards like this and just and playing them? Like
Could
we just don't see it.
could you imagine just like the comments I would get? Like we get a lot of Instagram messages that's like YouTube comments aren't as much. I think most people that listen to the podcast listen to it, but I get a ton on Instagram because they know that I
Yeah.
respond there and stuff. And I can only imagine how hilarious the comments would be if I was just like, all right, guys, Mrs. Bumbleflower precon upgrade time. We're stripping out Colonian Hydra because it was a terrible include. Psychosis Crawler. Everyone's like, all right, I'm on board with this. And like, we're jamming in Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus.
Exactly.
If I was like, this is my precon upgrade guide. And could you imagine with a straight face saying, I'm playing an upgraded precon and then, so anyways, turn one I Jeweled Lotus? That would be
Yeah.
it would be hilarious. Like obviously, like everyone would be like, "Okay, I'm not gonna continue this game,"
Yeah.
but it would be hilarious to like straight face do that and stuff. I was gonna make like a skit, and I was just like, you know what, it's fuel to the fire. But I was gonna be like, I was gonna say like biblically accurate EDH game with the rule zero with EDH Rex rule zero, and it'll be like land pass, land pass, land pass, land pass. You play an island. I'm like, ooh, didn't rule zero that one.
You're a blue player? No.
Ooh, yeah. Islands are a little too salty. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know. My stance for ages has been, and until I see major changes, will always be that the rules committee are a bunch of dinosaurs who don't actually have like any mandate in the format. But seeing how much people panic sell shows how
Yeah.
much they are still respected, even if it's
And
not by me. Oh,
and that's
I did want to say one other thing. Another my last final point was that I think it's crazy that they had to like go and be like, "Oh, Olivia was your voice in the room. She didn't agree with these bans." There's 5 people. If 5 people can't agree with the bans, why are you trying to format ban? That's nuts.
yeah. Like overall, like I what overall, like I don't agree with the decision, but that's besides the point. Whether like is it better for the format? It's better for their group.
Mhm.
I will say that. Okay, because once again, like we've been saying the whole time, we don't see it around our groups, but at the same time, you know, maybe it is a problem in another LGS. Maybe it is a problem among certain other groups, and
Mhm.
we just don't see it because it's like it's going to be like a smaller community, or the group is more competitive overall, or things like that. Okay, fine, all right. We don't have all the information, but I can see that being the case, all right. So when it comes to that, fine. As for the financial ramifications, you know what? People are saying like there's so much money lost and everything. Like I threw in an example to the guys here. It's like, look, okay, remember the memes with like like the goif,
Mm.
how like
Yeah, my
that,
token Tarmogoyfs are worth nothing now.
yeah, okay, like Tarmogoyf is a bloody token right now.
Tarmogoyf was a card I was proud to finally achieve, like way back. Like it was just like because I had lots of very expensive cards, but I don't often go buy. A lot of my expensive cards are from having cards when I was younger, right? So I was like really excited to go like get a Tarmogoyf finally and everything. I loved the new artwork of it, and I was like, I gotta get that. I gotta get the playmat. And then now it's printed down to a token. I'm like, it feels
Yeah,
bad.
but that, like, yeah, it feels bad, but you know what? That's just the name of the game.
Yeah,
Okay. And overall, in the end, this is a game. People have lost sight of that.
yeah.
Okay. People are always think of this as like an investment. I can retire from this and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Are you nuts? And they're like, well, how much money did you lose? I'm like, you know what? I didn't lose that much. I only have a dock side. True. I understand that. I feel your pain. Okay. And for those that are laughing at the people that lost money, you guys need to grow up as well.
Yeah, it's a
Okay, it's
bummer.
only funny when it's not happening to you. The moment it happens to you, you will probably like their chances are you're probably going to be just as pissed off as these other people. Okay, grow up. All right, but in the end, this is life.
Mhm.
Okay, you think this is bad? Okay, talk to anyone that was like a homeowner or something like that. Okay, like
Yeah,
during
during like
the
a financial collapse and like, oh, you lost $100, and then it's just like my house payment. I'm paying a mortgage on a house that's
yeah,
$500,000 and it's now worth 200,000. I can't sell it. I can't make
exactly.
these payments. Yeah, like it's the again in terms of actual like if you want to look at it like it's a financial thing, like you're saying, like it's a stock market, well then like count your blessings, brother.
Yeah,
This isn't
this
that
is
bad.
very minimal.
Yeah, yeah, things
Okay,
can tumble pretty bad. Like I could wake up tomorrow and like my house could be like worth like $100,000 less, and I'd be like, ooh. And I'll
yeah.
tell you right now, I got a lot of decks. I didn't lose $100,000 on Mana Crypts. Could you imagine if I did though? I just
Oh,
show
dude.
up to the episode today, tear streaked.
Yeah. And for anyone to argue saying like, well, think about the LGS as how much money they lose. You know what? In all honesty, okay, for someone that runs a business, that's part of the risk of running a business. Okay? Like, okay, I know we're running long, but a really big example I have, okay? We I work at a company and we sell video games. I lost close to 60 grand when it came to the release of Cyberpunk 2077. 60.
Yikes.
Who's paying me back for that?
Yeah,
It's
right.
part of the game, guys. It's part of the business. All right. Sure, these businesses, some of them are really small, okay, and they probably lost like way more than they could afford. I get that. But once again, this is part of being a business. There's risk.
Mhm.
If there was zero risk, every single person would be running a business and every single business would be successful.
Yeah,
But
I'd
you
also run a
don't
game store
have
too.
that. Yeah, you don't have that. The reality is, of all the small businesses that start up, okay, close to 70% of them fail after 3 years. It is part of what happens. Okay, so
If everything was a guaranteed like I'm gonna make money and there's gonna be nothing bad, then we would all be business owners and we'd all be very rich playing Magic in our mansions and we wouldn't care about $100 ban.
100%, 100%. But that's the reality. Okay, so the argument that you're saying that you guys lost so much money. I don't care. Like I care. and I feel sorry for you, but at the same time, I don't, because it's small potatoes compared to other things. Okay, and if
To
you're
real
saying that
losses,
you
yeah.
can't afford, like, you're having problems affording food, or like you need a new car, like my girlfriend needs a car.
Yeah.
Okay, a new car. I 2 weeks ago I sold part of my collection. Okay, to help for it. Okay, I'm like, do I want to keep those cards? Yes, but she's more important to me.
Yeah.
Hence, selling the cards. Okay, that's the reality. If you're having issues with paying bills and everything, make better financial choices.
I saw someone there's a Reddit post and they're just like, this is horrible. Like I just had bought these like on my credit card and stuff like that, and I'm gonna be like making these payments and stuff. Don't buy things you can't afford just because it's like a cool card.
Yeah, 100%. Make proper financial decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, and like, you know what? You just bought it and you just lost that much. Try buying a brand new car and driving it off the
Yeah,
lot and
off the
tell me how
lot.
much you just lost.
Yeah. You
Okay.
you lose value the minute you actually use it. It happens, right? It's a card game. Like I'm not a seller. I
Yeah.
should be. I should sell some of my cards, but I'm not a seller. So to me there is no actual loss because I wasn't selling it. A lot of cards I didn't buy at that value and stuff. Could you imagine if I had the intense like attention span to track the individual price I bought a card at and the price I ended up selling? That'd be nuts. I'd go insane.
Yeah. And like, I know the stuff that I'm saying is a hot take. I get it. I totally understand. But you know what?
Life
It's
happens first though.
reality.
Yeah. I really out of everything in the list, there's like two things that I think are like the best takeaways. Is number one, rules committee are dinosaurs and they suck. But number two, the actual real one is that the real takeaway is like if you're not seeing these as problems, like feel blessed, right? Like if you have these places to go do that, you have a play group that will or will not let you play these things, like feel blessed that you have like a group to play with, a good store to go out to do it at and everything like that. Like and again, if you don't have that and these were problem cards, then good. It's a good thing for you over there. And if you do, then just have your talks with your people. Like feel blessed. Like you said, the world's not going to collapse because a few of our cards are worth less and everything, right? Like it sucks, it feels bad, but like again, they reprint things go up and down in value all the time.
Yeah.
It's the game and stuff, right? Like just feel blessed that we have like such a nice group of people to get along with, to play with and stuff like because again, the anger's I think the anger's misplaced with a lot of that and stuff, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, it's we can dislike things, but we should be able to dislike it a little more. Like I haven't been doing any rage posting or anything like that. I've been like making fun of the decision, like posting some silly memes saying it sucks, but none of that. I don't think that's like me. Like I'm not like spam messaging rules committee members being like, how dare you? Like like let's just
Stupid.
yeah. At the end of the day, let's remember it's a game. We're blessed to be able to play this game with our friends. You can rule zero anything into the game. If somebody comes to me with a cool custom card, I'll probably let them play it. I might say like, ooh, we might need to balance this a little bit and stuff, but let's try it and see how it is, right? Like I'll play literally anything because I just like to play Magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that's it. Do you have anything else you want to end, or we want to?
I think we should end it, or else we'll keep on talking.
Yeah. And again, Slothy agrees with everything both you and I say. He has no opinions of his own. All right, I will. Where's my? Thank you guys for getting through this very, very long one. I'd love to know what everyone kind of thinks about the bans, but I think I do. I've got a pretty good take. But how do you feel about it? Is there a pro and a con? Will you be visiting Abyss Proxy Shop for your expensive cards now? If you're worried about expensive things being banned, if you do, promo code IT99. It does really help us out. It gives us some advertising stuff. Great proxies that are expensive cards in your deck. If you want to learn how to chill the power level down, come build with us and stuff, right? We've got a great community with Patreon and stuff. We've got lots of like cool people to build with, lots of fun interactions. So Patreon's a great way to come support us. If you're not interested in that, just like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment and stuff. Just tell me why they're not dinosaurs, I guess, if you have a different take on the rules committee and stuff. But yeah, no, it's I appreciate everyone listening as always and stuff. I know this was going to be like a long one, so thanks for getting through it. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good week. Oh, and AI armor sleeves. If you have cards that aren't banned, they should go in AI armor sleeves. They're great. They are in our bio for a link for them. They're great. Put all your jeweled lotuses in them. Send them to me. Nicely sleeved up jeweled lotuses. either way they're a friend. That's it. Yeah, and yeah, make better choices with your deck building. Play sillier things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stop threatening people.
Yeah,
Crikey.
Again, I can't see anyone in our thing. We got good people.
We got a good community. So I appreciate our community.
Yeah. Only appropriate threats are when people flash a psych rift. Yeah, that's it. I end there.
All right, everyone. Laters.
Oh, wrong button. There we go. Right button. All right. Now bye.